Hello, my Leo Collective. So I am here today to give you your message for July 2023. 2025. Oh my Lord Jesus. 2023 is haunting me. That's all I'm going to say. You would be the third reading that I mentioned 2023 to. I recommend you checking out the English Taurus reading. They had 2023, and I think it was, let me just double check. I think it was the Spanish Gemini reading, if you guys are bilingual, that also mentioned 2023. So, like I did before, I'm going to find out what's so significant about 2023 that is coming back around right now in July. Okay, first I have the dream realm. It says, not everything is what it seems. Bring yourself back from all times and places as a new perspective can be seen. And this is calling back your power. I feel like I am letting Leo know that you're split, right? There's people that are quantumly entangled with you. There are energies that you are still thinking about and ruminating about. So when I'm talking about quantum entanglements, right? Or spiritual binding or attachments, spiritual attachments, it's all talking about the same thing. So though they're energetic, I want to say knots that we have in time, space, dimensions, and directions, they're in the physical 3D human self. You will think about it's a rumination thing. Storylines that you haven't let go of. So that would be like, this happened when I was 5. I remember one time in band camp, I remember, and you just keep ruminating about it. And these can be people, places, things, or energies. They can be positive or negative, but they're anchors that hold you in space and time. Okay. The second thing, it can be ailments that you feel in your body. So if you don't want to remember in the mind's eye through memory, you'll physically feel it. So this would be the return of a knee pain, a return of a hip pain, a return of an ailment that you had in the past. And it's a reminder of something that you're still connected to. And if you had the time to meditate and to contemplate about it, you would find the moment in time that you're still attached to from that. Like, for example, a shoulder injury that you had as a child, and that all of a sudden starts hurting now because that moment in time you felt like, now you believe it doesn't bother you, but your soul feels like that was the moment in time when your life went in a new direction. Okay, so that's what's so important about soul retrieval and about shadow work and releasing things. But you're still stuck on something that happened on the in 2023 that is coming back to nip you in the butt this July. And the second thing is Aquarius. And this is the age of Aquarius. And the age of Aquarius is one where things that were hidden are going to be revealed. The light is shining down, and as above, so below. In other words, as you were in your mental state, whenever you did whatever you did or whatever, on that timeline that you're stuck to, that's what you will be receiving at this time. And this is, all are capable of dreaming, but it is those who surrender to vision who are visionaries. And this is a situation where possibly you had a thought, a dream, or something like a premonition, a prophecy in your life that you received in the doom state. And it seems like a nightmare, like worst case scenario. And you are trying to avoid it at all costs. And right here, they're telling you not everything is as it seems, first. And secondly, unless you allow this to work and you to do what you have to do to make it happen, um, you won't get anywhere with this, and it will die, you know? So there's two different ways I'm looking at this. This can be something that you really, really wanted to do in 2023 that you haven't done right now, and you've been avoiding it since 2023, and it's telling you to just freaking do it. Or it's something that you're holding on to, and because you're afraid of the prophecy that you saw will happen to you in 2023 in the future if you proceed forward with whatever it is that you saw. And then the third thing is the North Star. I am an embodiment of what I seek, walking with purpose while focused on my path. So the North Star is what you're supposed to be when you grow up, right? This is the person you're supposed to embody as your final avatar in this earth creation, in this earth game. Um, and I feel like somebody's fear of worst case scenario is holding them back from their authentic self and from their North Star. And that is unfortunate. And it's fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's fear of that prophecy that you saw. It's fear of letting go of certain people, places, things, or energies. Um, it's a big fear here. I mean, I just feel fear. I see these cards and all I feel is sadness and fear. Sorry, I'm going to have to drink something because it's bothering my throat. And I think somebody really feels choked up about this prophecy. Because it feels like a prophecy, and it started on 2023. So fast forward, let's go to, and the first thing that we're going to focus on is the Neptune retrograde. Now, mind you, Neptune has been in Aries since March. It will be in Aries for 14 years. When Neptune visits a sign, Neptune has a way of revealing secrets, has a way of revealing what you don't want to see. Okay, it's in a fire sign Aries, which you're in Aries, so keep that in mind. All right, but it reveals the tyrannical, it reveals the corruption, it reveals the ugly, and it's one of those things that when it comes up, it's calling you to say it's time for you to do something about this. Okay, so let's find out, because it starts on, it's in retrograde from the July 4th all the way to December 9th. This stuck in my hand, so I'm going to take that one. Club. Someone will try to make you do something against your will. And I'm going to be straight with you. With the astrological timing here and everything, the someone is Neptune. Is going to club you in your head. The next thing that flies out is the archway. New opportunities, possibilities, and pathways are opening. And this is your nightmare dream. So this is the pathway. The pathway feels like the prophetic dream. And the prophetic dream, I just keep feeling like a prophetic dream, like you saw it in a dream. Okay. And since you saw it in the dream, you've been trying to run away from it. The prophetic dream is a situation where you are shown a nightmare because it means a breakup of what you have already created, right? Because it feels like a breakup of something that has been created, a destruction, a tower moment, a huge tower moment. And, but you just focused on that tower moment and you didn't see on the other side how things are going to be, right? It reminds me a lot of Kung Fu Panda #2, where the goat lady, she told the Peacock King the prophecy of what will happen with the sun, and her prophecy was that their son was going to end their reign, right? But she saw the outcome. He will end the reign. because of a warrior of black and white. If you haven't seen it, I love Kung Fu Panda. Go watch it. It tells you a lot. And so what happens is that it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy because they ruminated on it, and then all of a sudden the son's like, I'm going to fix this, because of course young energy always thinks it can fix everything. And so it does things like he went out there and he killed all the pandas, right? Which actually led to Poe being an orphan, which led to him being in the right place at the right time to become the Kung Fu Panda, which he tried to tell the Peacock Emperor, I don't care, it's all right, just let it go, let it flow. But that person, that peacock, couldn't handle it, and it ended up, his actions ended up leading to his death, which created the prophecy, right? Sometimes all we do to avoid something is the reason why something ends up the way that we perceive it to be. Um, that's what I'm feeling here. And because again, when I saw this North Star energy where it says, I am the embodiment of what I seek, walking with purpose while focused on my path, I didn't actually feel that as a good thing. Sometimes we create what we focus on. And if your dream was something so ugly that there was fights and there was this and this was that and everything became terrible and blah, 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 and you're ruminating on that, then you're creating that prophecy. If they wouldn't have thought that that was true, what she had said, and they would have taught him differently, then he would have probably avoided that whole thing. Even though, I also believe that some things are written because they are triggers to change that are supposed to happen. But that's a lot of extra stuff. Here is talking about you're forcefully from the universe, and it feels like from the universe, it feels like a God thing, um, are going to be pushed through a doorway that you've been trying to avoid by all means necessary. And because I just keep thinking about Kung Fu Panda. Then we have the elephant. A long journey, either physical or mental, will leave you wiser at the end. And this is exactly what I feel. I feel like humans have a way of believing that we can change the world completely, right? There are things that were written or some patterns that we continue to ascribe to as humans because there is um, fallacies within us that we're purging. And every time we repeat a cycle, we start purging more parts of that internal defect that we may have, right? I feel like this journey that you've been avoiding since 2023. So this is a journey that was initiated and should have taken place in 2023, and you should have been in a different place right now. But you did not. You refused. You held on to it by like, I just hear, if you see a person holding on to something with their teeth and their nails, like I'm not letting this go. You're gonna be clobbered in the head and pushed through this thing, and it will be a long journey. And the reason it's going to be a long journey is because you're going to fight against it tooth and nail. And then we have the scissors, disappointment in some affair, because you're going to be forcefully cut off of something that you've been trying to avoid. And here we have the cobweb, protection from enemies, negative forces beyond your control. And this is what's really important, because rejection is God's protection. Oh my God, my nose is itching crazy. And I've come to a conclusion because I talked to them about it. I'm not the only reader that I've seen this to, that all of a sudden their noses started itching. But my guys tell me, because you got in on the nose, you actually heard the message right. And I'm like, thank you. Anyways, but this for me, rejection is God's protection. You have been holding on to whatever this is and doing all kinds of crazy shit to avoid a destiny that was already written for you. And you're not noticing that the reason this is happening is because it's supposed to. And now it reminds me of Player One and how blue shirt guy tells his best friend that the world is a fantasy, blah blah blah, which crushes his soul. And then the other guy's like, who cares, blah blah blah, and he's like, can you come with me, can you help be with me, and he's like, no. And then in the end he decides to back his friend up, right? And then he dies, and it caused a lot of sadness in that. But when they pass the threshold and he's in this whole new world and it's a wonderful world, all of a sudden they regenerate him and his friend is there. And so I feel like you're gonna get, oh, this is giving me cold chills, you guys. You're gonna get lost to the world for a while, but being lost in the world is important, because the world you were in was not the one you were supposed to be in, because you've been resisting the world you're supposed to be in for the last 2 years, right? Because we're in 2025. I heard 3 years, but we're in 2025 and this happened in 2023. So I want to say it's 3 years, but 2 years was when it was that moment and you did everything possible to close all the doors and windows and lock everything 1,000 times, because no, it's not going to happen. Um, this would create a hell of a lot of anxiety. Just a side note. Okay, that was a lot for just that one part. Let's go to the full moon. I mean, this reading's going to be long, but those that have ears to hear can hear it. Okay, so next thing is the full moon in Capricorn. That will be the 10th. This will be affecting us from the 7th to the 14th. Capricorn full moon has a good and a bad side to it. It's a karmic moon, right? So it's you repeating a cycle, or you releasing a cycle, right? You receiving karma, or you receiving dharma. Um, Something's coming back and it's going to whip you in the ass. And because I see these two things, I know that this full moon in Capricorn for you is not going to feel good, because it's the club. Um, and because the universe is, because has an amazing sense of humor. We got the turkey, and he says, good news. But in these decks, with the tarot, it's people behaving stupidly. Um, I feel like God, the universe, thinks it's going to be good news, because it's the first because they're showing me this, the first domino being tipped over, which then ensues a series of events that will seem like you walking down to hell, but finally getting you unstuck. So good news. You may soon receive an uh, important but very unexpected gift. You see, accept this with deep respect. Someone has sacrificed a lot to help you open doors and grow. I mean, that just made me emotional, because it's like you don't realize how much God is helping you. And it's going to feel like, what am I paying for? God, why have you forsaken me? Um, but because you can't see the end. I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. A lot of things will change for the better. Just remember, I do feel like it's going to feel like, sorry, it's going to feel like, God, why have you forsaken me? I'm sorry, that made me emotional when I saw that. It's good news though. It's just not for humans, because you know not what you're doing. All right. Look at that. I done told you. It's something that's going to break your heart. I felt it. I felt the sadness. A third party situation. It's going to involve 3 people. Oh, my nose is itching. This is the balancing of the scales. What goes around comes around. Queen of Swords, because it's time for you to get smart about this and cut this out. This cycle has ended. The World card. Judgment has been called. And you're just going to be forced to deal with it and to hang in there. Because the past is going to behave foolishly and take foolish actions towards a victory. And this is a chance for you to learn how to walk away from certain situations so that you may receive balance. I mean, that was a lot for that one situation, but this one's going to hurt your feelings. Okay? That's all I'm going to say about that. Next thing is Venus entering Leo. Venus entering Leo starts on July 12th, and this is when we can be impulsive, when we're listening to our desires and our passions. This is when we can get super hot and angry, especially since you guys are Leo. So this explodes your ego in such a way where you can be impulsive. So I would say control your anger and control your passions, because you can get yourself in a lot of shit with this energy, especially since I'm seeing hurt feelings here and I'm seeing all the things that are erupting. And Leos don't like to lose. A lion doesn't like to lose. The sword, because something's being cut out of your life. I mean, this is now the third roll telling me the same thing. And then here, Anima Mundi. And I'll look up this one real quick. And this is Anima Mundi, to find out what that means. One second. This is the last card of this book, which that was crazy. I just opened it and ended up but this is insane, because it says here, I'm just going to read it because it's crazy. You will awaken the unique light within and witness how this light contributes to the radiance of the entire universe. You will sense yourself as a critical note in the cosmic orchestra. Destiny is altered. I have to repeat that. Destiny is altered as you hear the enchanted melody of all living things. And it says, overwhelmed by the bigness of existence. And what I feel, I'm an Anima Mundi. In the center, there's a person sitting there in meditative pose, and then there's all this shit happening around them. Honestly, you're going to be in the middle of a crazy shit when this thing splits open. When this cuts out of your life, it's like you've literally opened Pandora's box, and all the chaos and all the torment and all the craziness that could potentially happen is going to hit you all at once. But again, this is what happens when you're supposed to be here and you're holding on to here, right? I'm like anchored to this cup, right? And I'm supposed to be over here. And then keeps on pulling me, and I'm like resisting holding on to this side. So then what happens is that God's kind of coming and snipping the cord that you have here, and you need to like slam into that. That means everything that had to happen these last 2 years that you've been resisting will happen all at once, and you'll slam. And you know that you have finished and you're in the energy you're supposed to be in when everything starts to slow down. Just letting you know. You would not be the first one I did this to. I did this too. You would not be the first one that I have seen this happen to, is what I wanted to say. Because I've seen it a lot. And I'll give you an example of a person I did a hypnosis on. Stuck in a very toxic relationship for 8 years. And after the hypnosis, we severed the binds that were connecting them to that toxic relationship. And in a period about a year, They left the person, put a restraining order against them, move forward, met, I went out with a couple of other people, met their person, is now married and has 2 kids, you know? So it's like it was going 1,000 miles an hour until that person caught up to where they were supposed to be in this timeline. And then now their life is a little mundane and everything is kind of normal and chugging along really nicely. But I can tell you that that period of that year, um, to a year or two, I'm hearing for you, um, will feel like you're in a roller coaster ride that you want to get off of and you can't. Okay. I don't know. Like all of a sudden, I'm getting all this like sinus stuff. It's crazy. It's like somebody doesn't want to see. Um, because if you didn't know, sinus stuff is related to your third eye. So this is something you've been avoiding seeing. Um, but when God says you open your eyes, you can try all you want. The eyes will be open. Next, the new moon in Leo. The new moon in Leo will be the 24th. This is all about you again. Okay. New moons have a way of being seeds being planted. I think it's a seed of awakening that's being planted within you. I want to see what it's all about. 44, changing your environment. I mean, actually, I want to look this up. I have my angel book over here. I'm going to look up what 44 means over here. I don't know why, but when I feel like it, I feel like it. It's my channel anyway. 44, your guardian angels. Shut the freaking front door. This is going to. Your guardian angels is wrapping you in a cloak of loving protection. You are safe. And when I saw wrapping, I heard wrapping things up. I mean, you are safe. This is supposed to happen. That they're wrapping up that old version that you've been holding on to like a security blanket because you've been prideful, which is I want to say downfall of the Leo. Leo is amazing. They're the lion. They take charge. They're direct. They have a presence about themselves. I have a lot of Leos in my life that like quite literally demands attention, right? But they are also the feathery peacock that's like, look at me sometimes. And they're very prideful and they are there's a very good tendency of falling into ego with a Leo. So I'm not criticizing. I'm just telling you the shadow and the light versions of them. You can look them up easily when it comes to astrology. And like I said, I have a lot of experience with Leos. One of the things that we receive as a virtue. Shut up. I told you wrapping up things really nicely. Completion. Um, so I tell people a lot that we have to confront all the 7 deadly sins. If we haven't confronted the deadly sins, and thank Mario for letting me know this, um, he had said to me that he was in the army and somebody had told him this, and he had said that the person told them, if you do not confront the devil in your life, that means that you're walking right next to them. Okay? You're walking with the devil. And so we need to confront all the 7 deadly sins: envy, greed, lust, sloth, all of them. Okay? Every single time we confront them and we defeat them and we overcome that demon, we are gifted of virtue. Okay? Um, Look it up. It's all there. And so God has 7 virtues. One of the last ones is um, to love God or whatever, or to submit to God, which is why I tell people all the time that free will doesn't exist, but to each their own. Those that know. So one of the virtues is humility. And that is the hardest virtue for a person living a very egoic life. In other words, believing that they're more important, more stronger, have a better strong voice than God himself. And this, for me, feels like God telling you, I said, I need you over there. And you're like, I don't care what you say. I'm going to keep pushing on, pushing on. I'm strong enough, blah, 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 whole mess of stuff. And then he's like, I said over there. This is, I said over there. This is what this feels like. It feels so. Anyways, there's a completion, not by you doing, by God's doing. There's a completion because he said over there. I don't care what you want over there. That's where you're supposed to be because that's what you agreed upon because before you became this human, you know? I just heard this parasite. um and though the parasite, the human, is listened to because we're supposed to have a communion within our higher self, our spirit that runs the machine and the machine themselves, both of you are supposed to come to one mind. If the machine is defective because it doesn't want to follow, um, the machine gets turned off. And then the spirit takes over. And this is spirit taking over. Um, you and Aries, I mean, if you want to look at Aries' reading, it was so harsh. This is the same thing. Okay? Um, shut the freaking front door. Ace of Swords. And this will feel like your crown of thorns. Okay? Two of Cups. I wanted to see if it was upside or down or right side up. It's up, right side up. It's the agreement you made with God, and it is written in your heart, and you need to do it. Star. Because this is the age of Aquarius. I'm covering over boobies, okay? Because this is the age of Aquarius, and you have to be who you are. You can't hide behind a mask that's not yours. See, what people don't understand is that the age of Aquarius won't only reveal the ugly of people, but there's been a lot of people that have a divine anointing. They came to do something. They came because there is a oath written in their heart space. And they've been avoiding that calling forever. This is like God's been calling you every single day. This is what you have to do. This is what you have to do. You know, you're my kid. You know, you're supposed to do this. And you are living the life of the world just because that's what you're supposed to do according to you because it's better. It's easier. I don't have to struggle. That life is hard and I don't want to do it. Here, I'd rather stay in my lane. I'll rather pretend to be of the world, right? And to pretend to be like everyone else, even though I know in my soul that this is not me. And these people are also going to be put in their place because they have to be over there. The bottom of the deck is the wheel. And that makes me laugh because that's exactly what I'm feeling that God's doing to you right now. Like you put a wrench in the wheel so it wouldn't move, so that you're stuck in this time. And he's telling you have to be here. And this energy feels like with the sword, you're going to go exactly where I told you to be. That's insane. That's all I'm going to say about that. And then we have Mercury entering Virgo, the last energy I promise, because this reading is a little long, but whatever. The High Priestess in reverse. The Eight of Swords. The Four of Pentacles. So Virgo and Mercury has a way of planning, right? But this Mercury in Virgo ends up falling in Mercury retrograde. And I'm going to do a reading on Mercury retrograde later. That's why I'm not even mentioning it. But with this energy, literally, it's like throwing a wrench in the plan that you had for your future, because this is not that. And you will not have that. The High Priestess in reverse is talking about trying to manipulate what you have learned, your intuition, the spiritual anointing that you have, so that you can F with the matrix and kind of put cheat codes so you can end up where you want it to be, because you want to stay with what I'm hearing that God in that song. Please don't take the beautiful things that I got. And that song I freaking hate it, because it's got like, God, please don't take the beautiful things that I got. No, bitch, that was not the life you were supposed to have. God doesn't take away things that He has given to you. He takes away things that you weren't supposed to have to begin with. So that song I have a total about. In the bottom of the deck, God spoke. Look at the Hierophant with the Four of Swords. God spoke. He's tired of you sleeping on your job. It's time for you to do what you had agreed to do with the star, and take that leap of faith, Fool card. Even if it means that he has to strap you down and throw you down there. Hangman, because you're part of something way bigger. I feel like this is going to feel like God is punishing you. And again, I repeat that because it does feel like that very strongly. Like you're going to have this, I want to say, existential crisis. You're going to feel like, you know, like existential crisis, or what is that called? A crisis of faith. You're going to feel it nasty. But the reason you're having it is because you know damn well that where you're at is not where you're supposed to be. And look at how my phone just agreed with me. You know damn well that where you at is not where you're supposed to be. And do you think people weren't watching? Everything is seen, even the smallest detail, and everything is going to get balanced out, even the smallest detail. I hope you understand that. We'll see you in the next time.